Hey, Zach, it's a pleasure to meet you both. How are you today?
Great.
Good man.
That's
How are
it's
you?
good to hear. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. There's not many interviews I get up at 4 in the morning for here in Australia for, but Demon Slayer is that good, and you guys are that good in it that I couldn't pass up the chance to have a chat. So thank you so much to you both for taking the time. I actually started Demon Slayer in anticipation for this film. I'm relatively new to the show in the last like month or so, and it has become one of my favorite animes. So I'm super excited to break it down with you both. I want to jump straight into the fact that I think Tanjiro and you have possibly the coolest cinematic battle of all time in this film. I think the Ikaze battle is out of control, and it feels like it's made for the big screen, which is something rare for anime fans to actually get to see some of their favorite characters battle it out on the big screen. But I'm curious to know how all the technical aspects, the sound design, animation, the music that really heightens it works in favor of finding the intensity of your performances. How did the technical aspects help you find your way into the characters?
Wow. Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I always do my best to kind of fit what has already been given to the show. In this case, the movie. Recording the scene, I kind of get a little preview of what's going on, and then so I get to hear the music. I get to hear some of the cues and what's already been laid down in the booth beforehand. When we record, we record individually, so in this case, Johnny actually recorded before I went into the booth to record. Just so happened to work out that way with our schedules. So I got to kind of play a lot of my lines off of what Johnny did. But yeah, walking in, I always walk into the booth ready to give it 100%. I know this movie is massive. This is the this is the finale, of Demon Slayer, the final battle, the start of the final battle of the entire series. So really walking in, I had that uh, intensity and you know ferocity behind me, just like I'm ready to do this, and I think I delivered. So I'm excited for everyone to hear it.
That's so good. And for you, Johnny, how does sort of all the technical aspects help inform your performance?
Yeah, it does make you because they've the not just the animation, but the sound design has just
Mm.
leveled up. And you hear it, we hear it when you have the cans on. So you do feel this kind of weight on your shoulders, like, oh, I better bring it. I better live up to what I'm seeing here. Um, so yeah, it actually really does. You do feel like this push to really get in the space. Um, but it's easy to get lost in the animation because of how pretty it looks, even just in the battles, it's like, whoa, that looks amazing, but yeah, it I don't know if it definitely supports, what you're doing, it just helps you kind of find it easier. It did, at least it helped me find it quicker.
Yeah, I mean, I got to watch this on a screener for the interview, obviously, but I will be going back to the cinema because of all these technical aspects. So it's worthy of the big screen. It's awesome. But you talked about Zach, talked about the sort of the ferocity that comes through it, and I'm curious to know how much physicality. Obviously, people hear your voices, but there is a physicality that I'm assuming naturally comes with the performances as well. What does that look like in the booth for you when you are doing this performance? What does the physicality do to then sort of heighten everything else about the performance?
Wow, that's another great question. It's funny because I don't know if they filmed you, Johnny. They filmed part of me. I don't know if that'll ever if that's like planned to be released or that's like behind the scenes, or I don't know if I'm actually not supposed to say that or not. But yeah. So I think there's a lot of movement that happens for you naturally as an actor. I mean, if there's something going on like battle wise, if I get hit, I'll try to really feel what it would feel like if a character ever gets like punched across the face. I feel that same kind of movement. I make that face with my cheek as something kind of gets hit. And Demon Slayer working on this is no different. I mean, it is intense. Demon Slayer overall, hands down, is probably the most intense property I've ever worked on when it comes to these battle scenes, these super, emotional battle scenes where you're at the very end, you're all bloodied and bruised, and you have to you've already given it your all, and now you're in your reserves. You have to give it even more. And I do my best
Yeah.
to keep that in mind for the character. And it's funny because it's kind of like a vocal workout when I'm recording the scene. It feels like I'm also in my reserves too, just like how Tanjiro is. I've already given it my all, and I still gotta keep going. One more scream, you know, just
Yeah.
one last all out attack.
It comes across. It absolutely comes across. But I feel like the action and this intensity doesn't work unless the emotional exploration is there. And especially with like when the story's exploring themes, especially I was so into Gyu's storyline of sort of battling his grief and his guilt. I'm curious to know what it's like exploring those sort of emotions, Johnny, in such a heightened concept. What is it about sort of not just Demon Slayer, but anime in general that is like a really cool vessel to explore these really human themes?
That's probably the most fun part of it for me, you know, is to be able to you get to explore emotions that sometimes you just hide, you know. And
Yeah, yeah.
they do internalize it all. And with Gyu, you kind of earlier on, like you watched it in one run, so you kind of got there a
Mm,
lot quicker, but you know, in the beginning you know there's something up. There's got to be something with this guy's past, but you don't really put it all together until a little later. And to, you know, get to the point where he is in the movie is I feel like it's very satisfying. It's the moment that I've been waiting for, is to see him kind of fully realized. And so yeah, again, it's just doing that stuff is the most fun part of it, you know. And then it
Mm,
also, when you get there and then you have like a big battle, you just you feel it, you know. And it's I don't want to say easier, but it's certainly makes it easier to lock into the emotion,
mm,
or the emotion behind the screams or the shouts, you know.
mm. And Zach, you mentioned that obviously this is the concluding chapter of the Demon Slayer, the series. This is the story coming to the end over these next few films. What are you excited to still explore about Tanjiro in these last few moments? And what are you going to miss the most about him when the story does come to an end?
wow. I mean, to be honest, yeah, I've been so focused on just this first movie. Every time I go in,
Sure.
I'm so focused on just what's happening in the moment. Because that's something I try not to do, is, you know, to like over prepare.
Sure.
I've read all the source material, but to just kind of live in the moment as an actor. And I think I mean, Tanjiro kind of goes through a lot, and I think that's prevalent throughout the entirety of Demon Slayer,
I think so.
even up until the end. But I'm just excited to continue to jump in and do these scenes that have so much impact on the fans, and even on me as a performer. I just get to go in there and give it my all, and pour that emotion into it. It's truly just what I live for. I that those scenes bring me to life as an actor, and I love it. Uh, but yeah, I mean, once everything is said and done, I think it'll be bittersweet to kind of wrap it all up. That's the word, bittersweet.
I think it'll be the same for the fans. For you, Johnny, is there something that you are interested in still exploring, or is there something you're going to miss about Gear when time comes?
Oh, I'm gonna miss it, of course. Um, and you know, I will just kind of hope that they'll somehow magically continue it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just in it for the ride right now, and you know, we do have a couple more films, and so we'll see where they go. But I'm excited for it all.
It's an exciting time ahead, and I think what fans love the most is the fact that the Demon Slayer series is so densely full of rich characters, many who get emotional payoffs and some setups in this film as well. And I'm just curious to know, is there a character for each of you that you've enjoyed seeing the narrative or the emotional arc of the series so far?
Aside from our own.
You can pick your own. You can pick you if you want
Because I really do
to.
like what they've done with Giyu, you know. I again, it's just been this thing where I've been waiting for this moment, the moment in the film, you know. There's I mean there's a couple of them, but there's yeah, there's you get to that point, but also just Tanjiro and Nezuko's journey, you know, and
Mm.
getting to see that. My son is in love with that, you know, in Tanjiro's story. Of course, his favorite character is Tanjiro. So, so yeah, it's really great to see. I actually all the characters do get this really cool growth, you know,
Mm.
and without spoiling, you get to see this where they get to a point where it's like, oh man, you know, if you didn't read the manga, it'd be
Mm.
surprising, but I think also satisfying in a way.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool, like going through the show. Um, Obviously, recording wise, everything that I'm kind of recording is through Tanjiro's perspective, through the Demon Slayer Corps' perspective. You see a lot of the Demon Slayers, a lot of the scenes are with the Demon Slayers. So I think it's kind of interesting, just as a fan watching the series and even this movie, to kind of go on the flip side and see the stories of the demons. So for this movie, if I had to pick
Yes.
one, it would be Akaza. I think I mean he's got there's a lot going on with Akaza in this movie. So I'm just excited to see how fans react to all of that.
that that was a real standout moment for the film for me. That was one where I felt very moved by where that went and had an emotional payoff that I wasn't expecting. And I think fans who know what's going to happen, I think, can be very satisfied with it. But people like me who had no idea, it's very moving. Yeah, it's very touching. I think it adds to that emotion that fuels how goddamn cool the action is in this as well. I'm curious to know as well, and I'm sure people have asked this before, but in the process of sort of finding the voice of the character and finding your own emotional in to your characters, do you ever listen to or take inspiration from the Japanese voice artists who have come before you? Is there anything that's sort of about their performances that inform your own?
Yeah, we absolutely listen to what they've done for timing as well, but to gather a sense of what they were doing, because the animation is based off of what they've done, you know,
Yeah.
and so to you usually try to find something, you know, the heart of the character in whatever line. Usually it happens, you know, in the first time your character shows up. And
Mm.
so, but once you find it, then that becomes the heart of that character, and you're like, oh, okay, there's something there. For me, it was like there's some. It was in that, you know, when he gave Tanjiro this chance to live and Nezuko, it's like why, you know, and then
Mm.
what is that mystery behind him, you know, what's happening there. But absolutely, you listen to what they've done and then try to put your own spin on it, you know, and
Yeah.
you become that character as you go through it, you know, and you don't take it to a completely different place, but you do take it to a different place, you know.
Mm. I'm about to get the wrap. I'll wrap up on this. Zach, I watched a couple of interviews with you both leading up to this, and you did an interview at Cape Town Comic Con where you said your favorite movie was Chronicle, which I think is one of the coolest
Are
movies
you
ever
serious?
made.
No way, dude. Yeah, not a
Dude,
lot of people know about that one. I
I saw
love
this at the
that
cinema
film.
3 times, dude. I love this movie. But funnily enough, I was reading some interviews with Josh Trank, and Akira was an inspiration for this film. And obviously, Johnny has voiced Kaneda has in Akira before. But I'm just curious to know, really quickly before we wrap, there's so much like Hollywood directors and such an influence on Western film from anime. I'm curious to know how you see Demon Slayer's influence will be stylistically or has been on projects in Western media, I guess.
Wow, I mean, honestly, yeah, it's kind of cool. I think Demon Slayer, just to be honest, for anime in general, has set a new standard, and that's just in its own genre. It's interesting to see how it'll be curious to see after this because I mean I know this movie is I know it's been very well received already by
Mm.
fans in the countries that it's been released in. So it'll be interesting to see this movie released here and to see how kind of maybe Western filmmakers take inspiration from Demon Slayer to create
Mm.
something else, whatever that might be, whether that's an animation or an original movie. Um, but Demon Slayer, I mean, it's a great story. It has great characters. Everything's so vibrant about the show. And I think that's another reason why it's so successful because I've said for a very long time, I think everyone can kind of get something from Demon Slayer, whether it's like, adults or kids or families together. There's always a character people can kind of like relate to in the show, and all of the characters are designed so dynamically different, right? They all have their own like cool patterns that they wear that's so colorful and, I mean, animated beautifully. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting, but Demon Slayer at its core already has a killer story. So I think it'd be awesome to see some like Western filmmakers take inspiration from the show.
I think they will, man. I think they will. That's my time. Sorry, guys, I've gone a little bit over, but Johnny, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat. I hope we get to do it again for the second film. But this was awesome. Such a great movie, and I appreciate you guys taking the time.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thanks,
Nick.
Nick. Yeah,
for
nice to
picking up.
meet you.
That's you both.